One night, a father sat inside a public bathroom, holding his little son in his arms, while someone outside kept banging on the door. He had no house, no money, no food left, and no idea what tomorrow would bring. But that same man, one day, built a fortune worth millions. This is not motivation. This is survival. This is the true story of Chris Gardner. Chris Gardner was not born rich. He came from pain. His childhood was filled with fear, poverty, and uncertainty. His mother tried everything to protect her children, but life kept becoming harder. At a very young age, Chris learned one brutal truth. No one was coming to save him. As he grew older, he dreamed of building a better life. Not for luxury, not for fame, just for peace. Years later, he invested all his savings into medical scanning machines, believing hospitals would buy them. But the plan failed. The machines were expensive, sales were slow, and every day, bills kept growing. Soon debt swallowed everything. Rent unpaid, bank account empty, pressure everywhere. And then the hardest moment came. His wife could not handle the struggle anymore. She left, but she did not take their little son. Chris now had something heavier than poverty. Responsibility. A child looking at him, with complete trust in his eyes. And Chris had nothing left, except one decision. Either break, or fight harder than ever before. Chris Gardner knew one thing. If he stopped now, his son would inherit the same pain. So every morning, wearing a simple shirt, he walked into offices, pretending life was normal. But behind that smile, everything was collapsing. He got a chance for an unpaid internship at a top stock brokerage firm. There was only one problem. Out of many candidates, only one person would get the final job. No salary, no warranty, no backup. Still, he accepted, because sometimes the only door life opens is the one that looks impossible. During the day, Chris worked harder than everyone. He made more calls, learned faster, spoke smarter. But when evening came, reality hit again. No home, no bed, no place for his son. Some nights, they slept in shelters. Some nights, they waited in long lines just to get one safe corner to sleep. And one night, they had nowhere left to go. Chris took his little son into a public train station bathroom. He locked the door, sat on the floor, held his child close. And while his son slept in his lap, someone outside kept knocking loudly. Chris stayed silent, because if that door opened, they would lose even that small shelter. In that cold bathroom, with tears in his eyes, he made a promise. My son will never remember me as a man who gave up. The next morning, he went back to work, like nothing had happened. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Every morning, Chris Gardner entered that office, knowing one truth. If he failed here, he had nowhere left to go. Still, he never allowed fear to appear on his face. He worked faster than everyone. He studied while others rested. He used every second, like his future depended on it. Because it did. Then finally, the last day arrived. All interns were waiting. One decision would change everything. A senior manager called Chris inside. For a moment, the room felt silent. Then came the words he had dreamed of hearing. Congratulations, you got the job. Chris tried to stay calm, but inside, years of pain were breaking apart. He walked outside slowly. No shouting, no celebration, just tears, because for the first time in a long time, life had answered his struggle. That unpaid intern, that homeless father, that man who once slept in a bathroom with his son, later built his own brokerage company. And step by step, Chris Gardner became a millionaire. But his greatest success was never money. It was proving that pain does not decide your future. Your decision does. So if life feels unfair right now, if nobody believes in you, if your struggle is invisible, remember this. A man with no home once built a future worth millions. And maybe your hardest chapter is also the beginning of your story. If this story touched your heart, subscribe now, because the next story may change your life too.